Hi, Joe DeRamo here for the More Than 2 Minute Drill featured by My Pinnacle Network. Instead of offering a networking pointer per se, today's podcast will be the second awarding of the Networking Ninja Award. We have Rich Archibald from Aflac, and Rich is the winner of our Most Ubiquitous Award. Rich, congratulations.
Thank you. Thanks, Joe.
And most people, when they get the ballots for Most Ubiquitous, they say, what does ubiquitous mean? But I think one of the things that Networking Ninja Awards has done is that a lot of people now know what some big words like ubiquitous mean. Basically it means that you get to a lot of places and your face is seen all over. And before we get too into what most ubiquitous means, I just want to give you a chance to say hello and talk and mention your business and what you do.
Okay, thanks, Joe. Again, I'm honored to be recognized for this. I do work hard at networking, and that's a big part of my business with Aflac. I help people every day when they get sick, when they get hurt. Folks know the Aflac duck, they know the brand, but they don't always know what we do. And it's all about doing things for people that your medical insurance doesn't do. So we pay people directly cash if they get hurt or sick, and that includes their salary, their loved ones if they pass, and a whole slew of plans that pay cash if you get hurt or sick. So for me to grow my business, which is now 5 years plus, it's a lot of it has to do with networking. And I think the groups that I network with recognized the fact that I am out and about a great deal, and that is how I get introduced to new folks, and that's how I can grow my business. So networking is a big part of my success.
And what is, you mentioned groups and things, but what does your networking consist of in terms of what do you, I mean, how often do you go out? Where do you go out? Is it some in the office, some outside the office? So obviously for this award, we're going to talk about before COVID, but there's certainly an after COVID. So,
right. Obviously, COVID has introduced things like Zoom, which we're on now, and that's kept contact alive, not necessarily as effective as before COVID, but prior to COVID, in addition to Pinnacle, I'm also involved in the North River Business Alliance, which is a weekly group that networks to help each other grow the business. I've done some visiting of a number of BNIs, probably 6 in the area. So I've met a lot of people through that as a visitor. I was a member of South Shore Networks until it disbanded. And then I do a lot of individual, meetups, one-to-ones outside the home office, sometimes through Zoom. Nowadays, more so through Zoom. So it's all about helping others. My focus is really always keeping other people's business in mind and then recommending their business and helping them grow their business. Usually if you help someone, they're likely to help you also in return. So that's my philosophy.
When you go into a networking event or a one-on-one, do you have a specific strategy or a goal in mind, or I'm going into this and I want to accomplish these things, or I want to come out of it with this? Is there something specific you go into each meeting with?
Basically be myself. I like to meet new people, listen to what they have to say, what kind of business they're in. Perhaps there's an opportunity for me to do some work with them, but I'm also at the same time always thinking about, do I know someone that could help their business? Because again, that's usually going to open the door quicker if you can help their business. The other thing, with the chamber meetings and other types of networking things that I do, a lot of times I'll know someone and I'll want to introduce them to someone else, for example. And so there's a lot of that where it's all about helping each other's business and introducing people to folks that they didn't know that could really help their business. So
it sounds like it's become second nature with you, that you enter a meeting or whatever, all just with that mindset, who can I introduce them to, or who can I pair them to in my network?
Right. And it's not necessarily 100% business. A lot of times there could be discussions about sports or hopefully not politics, but if that happens to come into the game, I usually just try to listen more.
Good move.
It's so dangerous. But yeah, I mean, it's about relationships. And if you know and trust someone, you're more likely to want to do some business or at least help each other because you understand what they're doing and you trust that they're going to do a good job if you recommend them to someone that you know. So that's a big part of it, is the relationship.
So clearly COVID has impacted everybody's business, and somebody who's big on face-to-face meetings like you have been. What has that done to you, and how have you responded to that to counter the challenges we have right now?
Yeah, it's a great question. Obviously, a lot of businesses have been impacted negatively, and that's unfortunate. The restaurants, the gyms, the child care centers, everyone has felt the pinch, but in those particular places, they really have felt a lot of pain. In some cases, they've gone out of business. So all of our work early on was to help people understand what resources were available, like the PPP funds, things like that. And also letting them know that with Aflac, they had a grace period so that if they were worried about making payments, they could hold off for a period of time. So a lot of it was kind of hand-holding those entities that were participating with Aflac and just kind of saying, listen, don't worry, your folks are still covered. We'll be there for you. If you have claims, questions, we're here. Obviously, the growth aspects of what I do were very limited because no one was going out initially. We were all pretty much tied to our homes. That's changed somewhat as things have opened up. And so now in the last, say, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, I've been out and about and meeting people face to face, which is refreshing. At the same time, we're all still trying to be careful with the mask situation and so forth. But it has hampered some companies' abilities to think about growing because they've been furloughing employees, laying off employees, things like that. So obviously that's not a great opportunity for me when they're hurting like that. But there's also other businesses that are doing extremely well, or perhaps doing more business because of the situation we're in. So those are the kinds of businesses hopefully we're focusing on, and I've had good success with over the last 2 months.
So given that your award is for being most ubiquitous, and the next however many months are going to be under these conditions, how do you plan on defending your title here going into next year?
Well, again, I think when I'm successfully helping people with their business, if I can give someone a warm referral and they actually close business with that person, that's probably the most satisfying thing that I do, because that's what I think the whole networking thing is all about, is you help people, and obviously they'll return the favor, hopefully, because, so.
And just for our audience here, the Networking Ninja Award is but one recognition piece for Rich today. He's about to receive another one from what I hear. If you want to share what that's about. So
we have a Northeast regional or market meeting coming up shortly. And I had a very successful August, so I was the #1 in the market. So we wanted to say a few nice things about me, I guess. So I guess I should be on that call.
Yes, you should. Well, congratulations. And,
Thanks.
One of the things in running these groups, being a good networker is important, obviously, but it's also important to be very good at what you do. And by that recognition, it makes a case for you that not only do you get around and do your networking, but you know what you're doing as well.
Yeah.
In closing, I'd like to share something with with our audience that I happen to know about you. We have a mutual acquaintance who tells me you were a musician at one point in time, or maybe you still are.
Yes, I was a musician for several early years of my life. I actually went to college on a music scholarship, believe it or not. I was a horn player, and
Okay,
I
excellent.
basically did every aspect of music, whether it was symphonic orchestras, marching bands, jazz bands, chorus, musicals, the whole nine yards. So, and
How does that experience lend to networking?
it probably doesn't, except that I was the reason I got out of music was because I was more interested in multiple things. And when you get into college years as a music major, everyone that you're with now, you're, as opposed to being the geek, you're now kind of pretty popular because you're a musician, but musicians do it 24/7. And I was like, hey, I like music, but 24/7, I wanted to play sports. I wanted to see other people. I didn't want to be surrounded by musicians all day long. And I guess that maybe was the beginning of my networking, because the reason I left that particular industry or that field is because there's too much more going on besides just music. So,
Well, again, I want to thank you again for coming on the podcast, and congratulations on the Ninja Award, which you had to wait many months for, but it should be arriving at your doorstep soon. And congratulations on the other Aflac recognition as well.
great. Thank you, Joe. Appreciate
And thanks for coming on. And this has been the More Than 2 Minute Drill with Joe DeRamo of My Pinnacle Network. We'll continue to announce networking Ninja Award winners over the coming weeks. And that's it for now. Goodbye, folks.